Hey Hotja, it's Jess with Emotional Fire Academy here today to talk about how to communicate with a highly sensitive person. Now, subscribe to my channel if you are an HSP looking to evolve this year and grow emotionally, and welcome if you are a partner, friend, lover, acquaintance, boss, coworker of a highly sensitive person and you're looking for more information. That's what we do here at Emotional Fire Academy, talk about all things HSP and emotional mastery. So welcome to the channel. My name is Jess. I am a master NLP practitioner and former firefighter. So this is a very broad topic. I want to address it because I feel like when communication breaks down, that's really where the problem lies, right? So we're trying to prevent communication breakdown with a highly sensitive person. And this can also apply if you yourself are an HSP looking to communicate with another HSP. This applies if you're looking to communicate with a non-HSP who is triggered by something, who is in a highly charged emotional state. So this is really how to communicate with someone who is in a charged emotional state and maybe doing this frequently, which is kind of one of the hallmarks of being an HSP. Because initially, when we learn about the label, we learn about what the symptoms are and, the traits of the HSP. We're kind of in a phase where we're gathering information and learning. We might have some of the emotionality, and as we kind of are, going through the stages of learning how to manage that emotionality and all of the other things that come with this personality type. And like I said, this applies to non-HSPs too. So the key in this, and I speak from experience, I actually did this week with a certain individual, is to hold your ground emotionally. So, and what this feels like is a little bit of detachment, right? Taking a step back when the other person starts to move into a highly charged emotional state. It really has nothing to do with you, right? And so not taking it personally, holding your ground and staying calm is one of the really big keys of passing through this little stage, this little incident, episode, situation, whatever you want to call it, and knowing that, it is going to pass. It is going to pass, and not being drawn in, because often, emotion is like fire. It wants to spread. And so when people often are reacting to something or feeling, one of these very strong negative emotions, it wants to spread, and it's easy to jump in there with someone, especially if this is someone you care about who is an HSP. You want to jump into the pit with them, or you're unconsciously triggered by what they're saying. So the key here is really to hold your ground emotionally. And you can it can feel like, like you're standing on a hill, like you're literally holding your ground. You're standing on that hill when you start to see the person reacting or upset or in distress, or the communication starts to break down. You, as the listener, as one of the parties in the communication, the first thing you can do is start to listen with detachment. And that's the holding your ground part. Kind of like you're watching a movie. You're seeing the emotions, but you're not going to emotionally invest. Your identity is not going to join the other person's identity in the story, in the narrative, in the emotion, in the drama, and because often, like I said, it's easy to get drawn in and start defending yourself against the HSP, or defending your behavior, or defending what you said, or, arguing with that person, or you get drawn in. It draws you in. So the key is listen with detachment. Don't get drawn into it. It's going to pass. Don't take it personally. Because when we get triggered, anyone, HSP, non-HSP, what happens is the trigger, we're kind of revisiting the emotional state that was created when the trigger was created. So that there's usually a initial incident, maybe from childhood, maybe not, where that initial trauma happened. And in that story, in that event, we felt a particular way. Or maybe it was the next time that happened, we felt a very strong particular way. And so we return to that pattern. It's this kind of autopilot disappearance into the pattern. So remembering that the person in front of you that you're communicating with, the HSP, is in a pattern when they're in distress. They're upset about something. They've gone into a trigger. They've disappeared into the pattern. So part of them is just playing the pattern out. And that's why it's good for you to stand your ground and not join them in that and add to the narrative, and just watch it like you would watch a movie. Listen with detachment. Detachment doesn't mean not caring. It doesn't mean, being apathetic. It just means putting physical distance between your identity, yourself, and then what that other person is experiencing and expressing to you. And imagining that space, like I said, you can use a visual cue, like I'm standing on a hill or I'm in a box. I am suddenly in a box when this person is going into a trigger or expressing a trigger or expressing negative emotion or upset. I can be in a box and still help them, but not get drawn in. So the second thing we can do once we're kind of listening with detachment and present in the situation is using statements of presence with this person. Empathetic statements, saying like, I understand how that would be frustrating, angering, upsetting. I understand your grief. I understand whatever this person is experiencing and expressing to you. Use statements that you're present and that you understand what they're going through. I get it. It's understandable you'd feel that way. Even, I'm right here with you. I'm right here with you. I'm right here. I'm hearing you. I'm present with you. Things that indicate that you are non-judgmentally present with that expression, whatever they're expressing, that you're non-judgmentally. And again, you have to be in that detachment to be able to authentically and genuinely say statements like that. Because if you yourself are boiling inside and you're like, I'm right here with you, I understand what you're saying, the other person will pick up on that and it will add fuel to their fire, so to speak. So using statements of presence are just like, I'm right here, I'm witnessing this for you, I'm holding space for you, I'm right here, I understand, it's totally understandable you would feel that way. Just things that are saying like, yeah, you've got this, you're allowed to feel this way, I'm right here. It's going to be okay. I'm right here. Tell me how you feel. So things like that, those are very affirming things for a highly sensitive person or someone who is triggered, because that need, there's a very deep urgency, a deep need to express, to get the emotion out, to express it, to make it known, to verbalize it, to emote. And you're meeting that need by just being present and not getting drawn into it. And then the next thing we want to do, the last thing, this is the magic question. This is the one I love to use when someone is in, once they've kind of expressed how they're feeling, they've been able to get it out, is to ask, to kind of, bring everything to a head by asking, what do you need from me? How can I help you right now? And this question is twofold. It's not only is it, showing them that you're being empathic to their needs and caring of their needs and compassionate, but you're also asking them to identify how they can help themselves in that moment. And it literally will shift the person into a different area of their brain, because instead of, playing out the pattern on the autopilot, that question of what do I need right now puts them in a very present state moment where they have to think about, okay, what would help me? And then how can I tell that other person how to help me? It's kind of this contemplative state that pops people out of what they're feeling and helps them, even unconsciously get into literally a different area of their brain, of thinking from a different part of their brain. You'll see a change in their demeanor. every time I've been asked this, every time I ask this of someone else, there's a noticeable shift in demeanor, because you're asking them to move into a different part of their brain. They start to think with a different part of their brain. They're like, oh, I just needed you to listen. And this also helps you because it's not only is the person then able to step out of the pattern and say like, oh, right now I just need this from you. But it helps you to know as a listener, as a participant in the conversation, what your role is, what their expectation of you is in that moment. And then if you can deliver that, if you can provide that, then you can do that for them. And it simplifies the guesswork for you of having to know, okay, how do I help this person? What do I do? I've been listening. I've told them I'm right here with them. And then, okay, this is what they need from me next, or would like me to do next, or that will help expedite getting them out of this state. Because you're just staying with them while they go through a state change. That's really what this is. When someone is having a negative emotion, a bad experience, they're triggered, you're just holding space for them while they move through it. And so, and that is also good if this is someone who you regularly interact with. Asking this question, how can I help you right now, will help the person too over time. If you continue asking this question every time they have an incident, an episode, the communication breaks down, a pattern will start to emerge of what things help them. For many people, it's just being heard, just feeling like they're being heard, just having someone listen. And so if you ask the question enough, you're going to see, okay, I just need to be heard right now. And then you will then instinctively know when these things happen, what to do. Because this person has told you over and over again, I just need to be heard, or I just need you to give me a hug and stay with me, or I just need you to ... whatever they're asking for over and over again, you will then know to do automatically, and then you won't have to ask that question anymore. So it's kind of helpful in establishing some self-care routines for that person, for regular interaction with them, to help them through when they disappear into these triggers, because we all get triggered sometimes. And so this is really how to help someone who is being triggered in the moment. And I can't emphasize enough that standing your ground emotionally, not wavering emotionally yourself, is really a key to moving through this with someone as rapidly as possible. And it's not to say that, this person isn't allowed to express as long as they need, but this will prevent, arguing with them and then having it drawn out and creating more trauma or defending yourself, or just stay put. It's kind of like freezing emotionally and staying where you are, letting them move through the state change that they're experiencing, and then being able to come back together with that question of how can I help you right now? What can we do for next time? That will make things smoother and better and help someone through. So, what do you think? Leave a comment below. I hope this was helpful. I am coming out with my new course. If you liked this, and if you are a highly sensitive person who wants to know how to help yourself when you're in this program, when you're in this autopilot, this is exactly what my course is going to cover. It's going to give you some actual tangible tools to move through these changes of state, of emotional state that you're experiencing. Check that out. That's going to be coming up very soon in the next couple of weeks. I can't wait to release it. And thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye.